Happy spooky season, everyone.
It's spooky season.
Today,
kids.
we're going to tell you a horror story.
Well,
Are you ready?
not. I'm going to set this building on fire is what I'm going to do.
This is a story. It is a story about a video game company who forces their games to go out incomplete.
Today is not Sonic.
Otherwise known as EA. Hold on. Sonic's been good about that in the last couple of years. Only in 2014 was the last time, and that wasn't even their fault. It was fucking Sega for forcing them to... Oh, I cursed already.
It's fine.
I'll just cut
Whatever.
this
You can
part out.
fix it later. It's okay.
Yeah, okay.
But horror games. Everybody loves them. We all know them. We all love them. Spooky games. Everything from Amnesia... Way back in, 2012?
I think so.
Was that Amnesia? All the way back from, even further back to Slender. And all that wonderful stuff that gave us all those really good jump scares in our computer chairs, like at 10 o'clock at night when you're on the computer and your parents are in bed. And they're like, they know that you're on the computer, but they won't say anything because, you're not like looking at porn or anything. You're just playing a spooky game, and then they hear you screaming like a bitch from the other room.
That was a really specific circumstance you described there, Skylar.
Well, it never happened to me, but I just kind of yes-anded myself.
Uh-huh.
And that's just how it happened.
Right.
But, horror games. We don't really have, any kind of structure for this episode, so it might feel a little weird until we really start getting into it. But, I'm going to be real right now. I'm just gonna start off by saying I love horror games more than I love horror movies because I'm just a big horror fan in general, and I fucking love it. I love all that stuff. I love getting scared. But I feel like horror movies in recent years have been severely lacking.
Absolutely.
Because everything's either a remake or it's something new, but it's not good.
Like Truth or Dare?
Like Truth or
Did
Dare.
you go see Truth or Dare?
I didn't. I didn't want to waste my time.
I don't know if you knew way back when that came out. It was second semester.
Mm-hmm.
So that was spring 2018.
Something
Feels
like
like
that.
forever ago. And what was it? Caveman Spencer and I.
Yeah, you guys all went to go see
We went to
Truth or
go see
Dare
it
at
right
AMC.
before Stage Combat. Not at AMC.
Not at AMC? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because Caveman had free tickets, and we were really bored that afternoon. He's like, "You want to go see Truth or Dare?" And I'm like, "Hey, Tyler Posey's in it, and I love Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf." So I said, "Yeah, let's go see us some Truth or Dare." It was really bad, and that's not to disrespect anyone who was in it. In fact, as someone who's trying to be an actor,
Well, they got their paycheck,
Yeah,
but it was just a bad movie.
They did their best with what they were given, and that's the thing you have to remember about actors is none of them get into voice actors too, like for gaming and stuff. So this applies to any industry with acting. Maybe porn, but that's a separate issue. You can't get mad at them for taking the job because it's a job, and they have no way of knowing it's going to be bad. Look at Andrew Garfield. He was Spider-Man, and that's one of the roles of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his fault that those two movies, specifically the second one, were just really bad. So
yeah, no, it was a bad
all
time.
respect to the actors, but that movie was just really dumb.
Yeah,
it wasn't engaging.
But not to waste too much time on that. But just in general, I think horror movies specifically the quality has gone down ever since the golden age of horror from Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all that amazing stuff when it first came out. I feel like it's all kind of gone down, which has been why I've gone more into the world of horror games. Because with a horror game, it's more immersive. You're right there. You're in the experience. You are immediately interacting with everything in your immediate vicinity. So you can pick up stuff and be like, oh, that's weird. And then you look back up and boom, there's a jump scare. which is something that I love about horror games. But, I feel like just like with movies, horror games are starting to get into a little bit of a dangerous territory.
Some of them are, yeah.
Some of them are getting into pretty dangerous territory, but, a lot of them have been really good. Even short little, indie horror games. I can't think of anything right now, but it's all good.
Well, I can think of a couple.
Oh, yeah?
A couple in the one series involving a bunch of animatronic animals, but we'll get to that in due time.
Well, yeah, and Five Nights at Freddy's did the whole jump scare thing really well, and that's part of the reason people have jumped on that train of doing a bunch of jump scares in their games. Exactly. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like horror as a genre is it's in a really weird spot right now. That if there's not a bunch of good stuff coming out, like Blair Witch, the new Blair Witch game was amazing.
I forgot they announced a new Blair Witch game. That was at Microsoft's E3, right?
Yeah, that game is amazing. And there's been so much good stuff in recent years, like Until Dawn. Until Dawn was fucking beautiful.
That's not even a straight up horror game. That's more like a choose your own adventure kind of game.
Yeah,
with horror elements.
Yeah, with horror elements, and like the way they made it is they made it like a movie. It was like an interactive movie.
More or less, yeah.
And that's something that I really loved, and I loved that so much as a PS4 launch title. Because that like showed off the motion, I guess, quote unquote, motion controls of the PS4.
I thought that came out like 2015 or something.
Well, if it wasn't a launch title, it came out shortly after the PS4 did.
Okay, I thought because I recall, weren't they teasing the game for a long time too beforehand?
I think so. Yeah,
I don't have the history.
Oh yeah, that's totally a game that they would tease for a few years, leading up to its release. But that game was so good. That game was so good. It was actually scary. They didn't just have the paranormal aspect of the Wendigo. I mean, spoilers for a game that's been out for
a couple years
while
now. At least 3 years.
I mean, if you haven't played it yet, I'm sure you guys have at least seen it. Yeah. But it was so good. I mean, they had the supernatural aspect, and they didn't lean too heavy into that. And then they also had the... Well, I mean, they had like the normal aspect too of like what was his name, Josh?
Josh. I don't know why I remember that.
Josh,
I never played that game. I don't have a PS4.
Yeah, of Josh of like him going crazy and him becoming this weird like not really a serial killer, but just like a little tormentor for all these guys because they killed his sisters.
Yeah.
Or at least one of them, and then the other one turned into a Wendigo, but. That's all just part of the story, and everybody knows that by now.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
Oh no, you're good. Just leading into that, from Until Dawn, to get a more recent take on it would be Man of Medan.
I don't know about that.
So Man of Medan is a game that was made by the makers of Until Dawn. And it's part of an anthology, so it's not really fair to judge it too harshly right now.
Because more parts are coming out in the future.
Yeah. So it's a whole anthology. I forget what it's called. I think it's like the Dark Pages anthology or something like that.
Okay.
But Man of Medan, I feel like it was just a step down from Until Dawn. Because Until Dawn had some huge things to like live up to, with the whole decision making being an actual thing. But
which it sort of is.
Well, no, it really
depends
is
on
like
the situation.
Like in almost every situation, no matter what you choose, could get you killed. And that's what I loved about Until Dawn. And like if you make that right decision or the wrong decision, you just gotta live with it. Unless you did what Markiplier did and you like get somebody killed and you replay the whole thing because he was being a dumbass.
To be fair, I think some people do that with the games like that, like Telltale games and stuff. Like
man, those games.
Hey, hold on. Not all Telltale games. # not all Telltale games are bad. I will give you that some of them are really repetitive, and I was going to reference that. Mm-hmm. You know, Until Dawn is not nearly as your consequences don't actually matter as The Walking Dead.
Because they actually do.
I would say The Walking Dead, A New Frontier, which is basically the third season of the Telltale Walking Dead series. Mm-hmm. That was the one where either your consequences really didn't, or your choices really didn't have any consequences, or they didn't change the story much, or there's 1 or 2 points where basically whatever choice you make, the game decides you know what would be fun. We're going to make you choose the other thing. So you save this guy named, I forgot what his guy name is. Mm-hmm. Whatever. It's in like the 4th episode. Basically, 2 people are being held at gunpoint, a guy and a girl, and you can choose to save either the guy or the girl. Please stop playing with that lighter. And if you choose to save the guy, the lady shoots the guy, and the girl lives with the fact that you didn't choose her, and vice versa with the girl. So those are just really, and again, for most of the season, it's like all that really changes is 1 or 2 background elements, and that's what some Telltale games are about. But some of them are a bit better, like the Batman ones, I feel, and the first Walking Dead, absolutely. And also, not to make this a Telltale rant, I'll stop in a second, but also The Walking Dead, the final season, which came out. That wrapped up earlier this year, goddamn, and it was good. The point is, those games have been notorious for having choices that really don't matter in the long run, and Until Dawn's pretty good with those.
Yeah,
but I've seen some of the choices where it just doesn't really. There's the one where you have to choose to either kill Josh or Kate is her name or something. I can't remember. It's like the quirky girl,
Ashley.
Ashley, thank you. The quirky girl who wants to get with the nerd, and vice versa.
Well, see,
you can choose. I know, for the sake of Josh's plan, you have to kill Josh. But even if you choose to kill Kate, you still kill Josh, and I think that'd be a really interesting consequence for Josh to actually let his actions get people killed. I know that does happen in the plot, but early on, something like what was the nerd's name? I can't remember.
The blonde one.
The blonde one with the glasses.
Chris.
I keep saying nerd.
I think it was
because
Chris.
He has glasses. That's so unfair of me.
Yeah, I think it was Chris.
Chris has to choose to see either one, and even if you choose Kate, you still kill Josh, and there's really no consequence for that. Again, I get it has to happen for the plot to continue, but find a better situation then, I think, for that, to make sure, every single action has a, equal and opposite reaction. So to quote Einstein, who definitely, it was definitely Einstein. It was definitely Einstein.
But like I was saying about Man of Medan's choices didn't seem like they mattered. The choices didn't seem like they mattered very much, and it was just kind of disappointing. It was still a good game. It was still a beautiful looking game. It was still really good compared to some other horror games that are out right now. But I don't know. It was. I just felt like some of the choices didn't really matter. But I mean, since we're doing just horror in general, I don't want to get too stuck on those games for half an hour, 45 minutes.
Well, if you could make an entire podcast out of that, I would commend you.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Just moving on to horror in general. Let's get another big name in horror. And I know, because we obviously have to mention this is Five Nights at Freddy's. This is,
in case you guys haven't noticed already, Skylar's been doing most of the talking for this one, which is fair.
Well, yeah,
because for one, I did most of the talking about the Mario episode, and when we get to an inevitable Sonic episode,
you're gonna go off.
I am gonna go off the chain on that. But the point I'm trying to make is that Skylar is a lot more into the horror games. But to that point, Five Nights at Freddy's is the one horror series I actually really got into. Partially because I was a fan, and partially because I thought it was actually a lot of fun playing those games, especially the free ones, because you don't have to pay money for those.
and we obviously don't have time or anything to get into the lore of it, because that's a whole thing.
Do. We just choose not to.
Yeah, no, we do. If we feel like doing a Five Nights at Freddy's episode, I mean, we will, and then we'll go all game theorist on it. And say what we think goes where and what belongs where in the storyline, but that's for another day. But
I would say for the meantime, watch Matt Pat's latest timeline video, not the latest FNAF theory. I said that FNAF theory video, but the latest timeline one. It's actually split in 3 parts, so sorry about that if you're not interested. But yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's.
It was so beautiful. That game came out when I was in middle school, and the first one. That's the very first one, and I'm a junior in college.
You were in middle school in 2014.
No, wait. Was it when I was in middle school? Or was it was in high school. That was right. It was
I was about to say, how many grades?
Bro, no, it was just there was so much stuff going on.
No, I get you.
My memories are all kind of
No, you're good.
But I remember when that game first came out, and a friend of mine in high school was. He got the game, and he was hyping it up because everybody was hyping it up, and that it was the scariest game in years, because it was. Five Nights at Freddy's, when it came out, was the scariest game that we have seen in years.
It did.
Because it perfected the jump scare mechanic.
Yeah, it basically made the jump scare not just as a way of scaring you, but it made it basically an objective to not get jump scared. It was your incentive, if you will, to do better. And it was more than just, you're just going to get randomly jump scared. You have a strategy in how you fend yourself off the killer animatronics. You have to perfect that pattern. You have to get to know where they're going to go. You have to know how they're going to do it. You have to know what to do when this happens. and your punishment for not fulfilling that is a jump scare, which
Exactly.
for some people like me, that is fucking horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, I feel like, well, it was a good game. I was scared by it when I first played it. Like, it was terrifying, the whole ambiance of it and everything, but I also have a horrible fear of mannequins, as you know, so it kind of hit a little bit harder, but I feel like it didn't hit as hard until Sister Location.
I was about to say Sister Location.
When it had when it had the little mannequins and everything, and it had the
everything was more humanoid.
Yes, everything was more humanoid. It was terrifying. Baby was terrible.
Yeah,
I hated Baby. And Ennard, dude, I hated Ennard.
Ennard's probably the least, besides I guess Freddy and Foxy. Obviously,
well, just like
he's the least humanoid.
It was it was more like the human face and like just the long, weird appendages.
Yeah, he is creepy.
It was so crazy.
I got into Five Nights at Freddy's because even though I didn't watch Markiplier at the time remotely, I saw his series on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, because
and I saw it and I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a watch. I'm like, this game's kind of scary. And then
it's so good.
I got it, both my PC and my phone. Yeah, there were I think they still are on the App Store. Mobile ports of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. Apparently, Scott Cawthon said he wants to. There are both going to be console ports of the first game, and I'm assuming the future games if that comes to light. And then also there's going to be like remastered mobile ports of the game. So kudos to him for that. Where's FNAF World Mobile? And we'll get to that one. But
I mean, like I said, we're not going to go through all the FNAF games. It's just going to be like
we need to touch on something.
Like what though?
Well, wait, for starters, what's your favorite one?
My favorite one?
Yeah.
I love Sister Location.
Yeah?
I absolutely adored Sister Location just because of the story with it. And I don't know what it was. Like, when I saw that Sister Location came out, and
it's the scariest for you and the best. It's a paradox.
It was just so good.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's not a paradox. Things can be good and scary, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's how horror is. I guess if it's good, it's going to be scary.
Fair enough. Yeah.
What's your favorite one?
It's been a hot minute since I touched on some of these games. I don't know. I will say the one I put the most time into is FNAF World. Now, the game that I put the most time into that isn't crap. I'm kidding. I actually really like FNAF World, but apparently a lot of people don't.
Well, I mean, it's not really a FNAF game. It's like a filler
It's
episode.
a very simplistic RPG featuring cute versions of scary characters. Which,
Yeah.
you know what? I mean, Scott Cawthon released it, and it was really underwhelming to people, so he gave them all refunds and basically redid the game to make it better. Then he re-released it for free, and for that alone, I respect his game. Because also with every FNAF game besides the VR one, onward from... I think Sister Location was the last one actually cost money. Pizzeria Simulator and Ultimate Custom Night were completely free, and any updates they made to the Custom Night feature for Sister Location was also completely free. So I'll give credit where it's due. Scott keeps making games that are actually, free, and he has to pay people to voice act in them and such. So, kudos to you, Scott. But as of my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game, it's really tough for me to say because I sort of haven't played them all too in depth, but I know a lot about them. I would say probably just as a placeholder anyway, the third one. Because
that was the one where you're in the museum, right?
Sort of, yeah. It's basically this carnival attraction, more or less, that's like a museum of the horrors of the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2.
Yeah,
sort
of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
Yeah, basically the people made this attraction to sort of make light or make a quick buck off the horrible tragedies that occurred 30 years prior. Which means that the game takes place in like 2023 technically, which is kind of funky, but whatever. But yeah, that's the one where you face off against Springtrap. And I don't know why, but the idea of...
He's spooky.
He is... Let's start there. Springtrap by himself is a spooky little boy. He is a human who got stuck inside these suits that are called Springlock suits. And basically, these suits are able to transition between wearable suits that a person can put over their body, and they basically, like at Disneyland, act like the animatronic or the character. And then there's also another function where the coils inside of them all connect. That's a better word. And then it becomes a working animatronic, like one that's robotic and doesn't need a human inside. Basically, the story behind him that you find out at the end of the game, if it wasn't already obvious from looking at him, was that he is the infamous purple guy serial killer who's been killing children throughout the entire FNAF series.
And then he
gets caught up in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparently moisture's leaking in from the ceiling because it's raining and stuff, and he's probably hastily putting it in.
They mentioned that in Sister Located.
Yeah, he got caught in the suits, and it switched from suit mode to animatronic mode, so the coils and shit all pierced through his body and skull and killed him. Except not really, technically, because as we've learned in FNAF, no one who dies really stays completely dead. Or as Luke Skywalker said in the, Rise of Skywalker trailer, nobody's really gone. And he also said that so begrudgingly. I realize, because that means he's probably in the movie somewhere, and he's saying that about himself. He's like, Disney won't let me go. Whatever. But back to FNAF. Just by appearance alone, he's like, you can see bits of rotting body and carcass around him. Yeah, rotten flesh and stuff. His eyeballs are bulging out of his head and such. He's a creepy little dude. The only thing that doesn't make sense is the feet, because his feet are completely robotic, and I don't see how there could be human feet on those, but whatever. But he's creepy by himself. And the gimmick, so to speak, of FNAF 3 is that he is the only animatronic in the facility. Now, he's not the only thing you have to worry about, but he is
worry about like phantom animatronics.
Yes, because apparently the air quality and ventilation system is so damn poor in this horror attraction. Yeah, you start hallucinating characters from the past. So Phantom Freddy, not Bonnie. Sorry, Bonnie's the weird exception because I guess you're facing Springtrap, who's already a bunny. I guess that's the only logical reason I could think of. But Freddy, Chica, Balloon Boy, the Puppet, Foxy, Mangle, unofficially, but Phantom Mangle is in the game. They can hallucinate you. They jump scare you still. So that's probably, ironically, probably why it's one of my favorites, because a jump scare does not mean the end of the game for you. With Springtrap, it does. Springtrap, he finds you, he kills you. He has the least intimidating jump scare. All the Phantom animatronics, jump directly in your face and shake the camera and stuff. But Springtrap just kind of walks up and he's like, hello, buddy. And he kills you. But all the other animatronics, they jump scare you, and then they disable one of the features, because you have to worry about ventilation, your TV, your little monitor to watch Springtrap, and the noise maker, the child laugh noise machine, to lure Springtrap, because that's how you beat him in the game, or survive till 6 a.m. Sorry, not 5 a.m. You have to lure him around using little children laughter, which is really creepy. But it makes sense. He was a child killer, so it makes sense it would attract him. And, every time they jump scare you, you lose access to one of those things, and you have to reboot them. And when you're rebooting them, you're not watching Springtrap, so he can come and get you. It's a domino effect, if you will.
Jumping a little too far into FNAF right now, but that's okay. It's fine, because there was one game that was wonderful when I first saw it, and it also kind of perfected the ambiance feeling of it, and like the creepy, it's like, did I just fucking hear that? Like, did that really? Is that something that I heard in the game, or is that something that I heard in my house? Because it was Welcome to the Game.
Super Mario Run.
Welcome to the Game. I don't know if you've played that or not.
I have not. I've played almost no horror games beyond the 5 Nights at Freddy's games and Slender.
So Welcome to the Game is this game where you're this dude who's gained access to the dark web. To the dark web, the deep web, whatever you want to call it.
Cool.
And throughout the whole game, you're trying to find these codes on the dark web that will lead you to the Red Room, where you can watch somebody get tortured and murdered live.
Sweet.
It's like Twitch, but for murderers.
Oh, cool.
And so that's basically the whole game. You're browsing around the dark web for days and days and days, and there are some websites that are only active at certain times, so you have to be watching your clock and then get to those websites, and then be able to, go through everything and find the codes. Once you find all the codes, you enter the codes into the URL, and it takes you to the Red Room. But that's not the scary part of it.
Of course not.
The scary part of it is that you're browsing around on the dark web, and in the dark web, this is a real thing too. People can find your IP address.
Cool.
And through finding your IP address, find your location.
Cool.
Find your exact address.
Cool.
And kidnap you, and then make you a victim of the Red Room.
Cool.
or just kidnap you, sell you into sex slavery, all that kind of fucked up shit.
Cool.
So throughout this whole game, you're not only trying to stay alive and not get kidnapped, but you're trying to. It's been so long since I played the game, but I love it so much. And there's a lot of the mechanics going through my head right now, so I'm like trying to sort it all out.
Okay, just take your time.
But one of the first mechanics that came out was because you can reset your computer to reset your IP address. You turn it off, turn it back on, resets your IP address, and so they can't exactly pin down your location. But if you don't do that, they'll obviously find your location, and then there will be somebody that will break into your home and kidnap you.
That's right.
So to prevent this,
I don't have an alarm system.
No, exactly. So to prevent this, you have to, if you hear something that go bump in your house, you have to get up from your computer, run to the light switch, turn off the lights, turn off your computer, turn off the lights, sit down, and wait.
Oh, that's all.
And that waiting is so goddamn terrifying.
It sounds like it.
Because you can hear them, and I know you can do it, and I know it's in the second one as well. You can hear them walking around your apartment while you're hiding in the bathroom behind the shower curtain.
Damn.
You can hear them opening doors. You can hear them open the bathroom door, walk right up in front of that bathroom curtain, and just hear them standing there breathing, walking around trying to find you. And that game, it perfected ambiance. If not perfected, did it so goddamn well that I was terrified. I still have not beaten that game.
Yeah,
I still have not beaten that game.
Where is this game available?
It's on Steam. I think Welcome to the Game 1 is free.
Ooh.
And Welcome to the Game 2, I think you have to buy that one.
Okay.
If Welcome to the Game 1 isn't free, it's super cheap.
Okay, gotcha. I might have to give it a look, see.
Oh, definitely. And another game that since I'm on this ambiance train right now,
right.
Another game that did that was the Watson Scott personality test. And these are also all games that I actually have, so I can actually record them for footage and everything.
Yeah.
But the Watson Scott personality test it's obviously a test that asks you that tries to figure out your deepest fears.
Tries to figure out your computer password, maybe.
Exactly. But what it does is it uses surround sound. Steam is a thing where it's omnidirectional sound.
Yeah.
So it'll ask you are you sure there's nobody in your house right now? Or it's are you alone? Are you sure you're alone? Are you sure there's nobody in your house right now?
Leave me alone, buddy.
And you can hear footsteps, and it sounds like it's coming right from behind you. You can hear doors opening. You can hear breathing at one point.
It's not okay.
It's such a beautiful game. I finished it. I was terrified. I started the game in my dorm with all the lights off and everything, and I got up halfway through, walked into the living room, turned on the fan light, and came back into the dark kitchen just because I was so incredibly unsettled. It was.
I'm not okay with this.
I wasn't. But it was so good. It was absolutely wonderful. It was so good. It was wonderful in the way that they did it, and I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. It was. Oh my goodness.
That sounds lovely. I should give it a shot someday.
You definitely should. I think that one is free on Steam as well. We'll go to 45 minutes. It's fine because there's so much.
I was gonna say my next favorite game that terrifies me is Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. This game was.
Well, I knew you were gonna say some shit like that.
I'm joking.
You've also played Slender though, right?
I have. Not
what did you think
much. Let me try to recall because I played Slender very little. But it's the second of any horror series that I've actually played. The first being Five Nights at Freddy's, and this being the second.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't play horror games.
No, yeah.
But,
I figured I would be talking more during this, but go ahead.
Fine.
Go ahead.
So Slender, yeah. For those who are unaware, but everyone knows what Slender
Everybody
is.
knows.
At least people who are into
even if you haven't played the game, if you have any sort of presence on the internet at all, you would have known about Marble Hornets and Slender Man.
Right. Slender, I mean, For some reason, they retitled it to the 8 pages. I think that was when they made a sequel or something, and they really wanted to, I don't know, I guess differentiate it. Or that might have been they re-released it, but you have to spend money on it. Because it was originally a free game, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a free, because I remember playing it back in middle school, and it was like it was a free download.
That makes sense. That game was like 2012 or something.
Yeah,
so
that was the game I was thinking about. And I remember being at a friend's house, and he was like, "Hey, you want to play Slender?" I was like, "What's that?" And he explained it to me. I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
So we turned off all the lights in the house. His parents weren't home, so we turned off all the lights, and we loaded up Slender, and it was so good. Like, I feel like that's what really got me into horror games.
It probably kickstarted, so I don't want to say like a revival of horror games and stuff, but at least it gave creators the idea that you don't need scary monsters and stuff, or you don't need the biggest scares in the world or whatever to necessarily terrify people. Because because what's terrifying about Slender is you're walking around these woods at night. The day mode makes it really not that scary.
The
day mode is kind of funny.
If you're gonna play in day mode, then just don't play the game. Honestly.
Well, I wouldn't. I would say play it for fun.
Are you kidding?
But
No.
After you beat the game, I'm gonna defend this. If I go to the trouble of beating Slender and getting all the 8 pages, I feel entitled to at least one round, even if I fail, of the day mode, because I went around the darkness forever, and I hate that, and I want to see some sunlight.
That's part of the point, though. Otherwise,
it's
just a nice walk in the forest.
You're overthinking it. It's like extra modes in Five Nights at Freddy's. You don't have to use them, but they're there for those who might want them.
I guess.
But as I was trying to say, you walk around the dark forest, and you hear little sounds or whatever. The more pages you get, the more intense like the sounds and background music becomes throughout the game. And eventually, you'll run into Slender. Slender's gonna pop up. He's gonna slam down on his piano because that's the sound that we're hearing. Make no mistake. And it's kind of terrifying because Slender apparently can literally just pop in. If I'm not mistaken, he can teleport in front of you. Not like directly, but he can teleport like in the direction you're looking. If you're unlucky, then you gotta look away. Otherwise, jump scare and he'll end you. That's a game where unlike Five Nights at Freddy's, the jump scares happen throughout the game, and you kind of have to keep going. Despite that, and my least favorite part of Slender, watching anyone playing or playing it myself, was when you have to go through the really tight corridors and the bathrooms and stuff. You got to go through there. And the more pages you get, the closer.
Slender can't appear in the buildings.
He can't?
No, I don't believe he can appear in those buildings.
Well, then what was I scared for?
Ambiance. The fact that
I swear I've seen him in the buildings once or twice.
I don't know. I would need to double check.
Like,
but
I don't
I'm pretty
think
sure he can't appear in buildings that are like shorter than him.
I mean, maybe, but no, you could. Motorcycle. I'm sure you could fit. He could fit him there because they're taller than the player anyway, and he's about as tall as the player, or maybe a little bit taller.
No, he's way taller.
Okay, he's a lanky boy.
He's tall. He's huge.
But I don't know. The point is, yeah, you're right though. Like for ambiance and the fear of you don't know he's around the corner or not. That's probably my least favorite time I have with that, when I go into the buildings and I see if there are pages there. If you're playing Slender, let me give you a piece of advice. Play a better game. But if you're playing, I'm joking. If you're playing Slender, just go to the buildings first, like as quickly as you can. Find one. I mean, if you find pages along the way, you should probably grab them because the forest is really hard to navigate, and going and backtracking has got to be a nightmare. But if you can, get to that house or the buildings as soon as possible and get out of there and look for pages real quick, because if he can't appear in the buildings, I know he could definitely appear outside of them. And if he's blocking the entrance, you got to get somewhere else. Either find another exit, or you just got to wait till he leaves. And I'm not sure if he does that very easily. They also made a sequel, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Slender Arrival.
I bought that on, get this, the Wii U of all consoles. Good question.
The one where you have the camera and you you zoom in and out and you get chased by Masky?
That one I played even less than the first Slender. I think I played the first level a couple times and I barely remember it. The first level is literally just Slender 1, or Slender the 8 Pages, I apologize.
Yeah.
Slender the 8 Pages, but with better graphics and stuff. But Slender Man looks both more and less scary. He looks more scary because he's more realistic and he looks more like just a deformed human in a sense. But he also looks less scary because I don't know. Even though it was really like low poly and cartoony, his long limbs and huge size really kind of gave him a less than human appearance. Like he was trying to be human, but in reality he's not. So I think I don't know. He's both more and less scary. His jump scares are also a lot more intense in the Arrival, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, well you're not just dealing with Slender anymore. You're dealing with Masky and all of his other.
There's Slender. Slender's back and he's brought some friends with him.
He really has, but wow, it's already been 35 minutes. That's crazy. Like, wow, time really flies by when I'm talking about this stuff.
Oh yeah, I've enjoyed watching you just kind of go all out with these games because I know nothing about them, but it's good to see that you're so passionate about them. I'm not big on horror games or whatever, but I'm glad you enjoy them.
Oh, I mean, another staple of horror, Outlast.
I've heard of Outlast. I know nothing about it.
Oh my god, Outlast was amazing. Outlast 1 was awesome. Outlast 2 was even better. Because I think it was in Outlast 1.
Outlast 3 was less than ideal.
I mean, Outlast 1, I think that's the one where you're in the laboratory. And I mean, if I'm wrong, you just like throw a whole thing up there. It's like, Skylar's an idiot, whatever, we'll fix it in post.
I'm just going to put that up there anyway because Skylar's an idiot.
But Outlast was absolutely wonderful. Outlast was such a big hit with people, and that they obviously had to do the second one. And in the first one, you're in a laboratory, you're trying to document this whole thing. And with Outlast 2, I remember Outlast 2 a lot more than I remember Outlast 1. With Outlast 2, you're trying to find, I think it's like your wife or your girlfriend, and you're investigating this cult that's like out in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. And like you come across some really fucked up shit. Mm-hmm. Like everything's trying to kill you. Everything's trying to get rid of you. It's such a bad time.
I'm gonna have a bad time.
Exactly.
Undertale is a scary game, and let me tell you why. The fan base is cancer. But enough of that.
But yeah, I mean, Outlast was wonderful. It was a staple. Is a staple of horror, along with another staple of horror. I think would be PT.
I actually know a bit about PT.
You know a bit about PT?
I know more about the history behind PT and it being taken down and stuff because it was developed by Kojima Productions.
Yeah.
Under Konami, which was not ideal. For those who are unaware, PT was a demo for a game that was revealed to be a game called Silent Hills at the end of the demo. It was basically just like a prototype of the horror game, and from what I've heard, I've never played it, but I've seen people play it online, and from what I hear and have seen, it really struck a good chord with people. It was terrifying.
It was amazing.
There was a lot of weird stuff going on in it.
Oh yeah, because the whole thing of it is like you're in your own house.
Yeah.
You're in your own house, and you're going through this constant loop.
Yeah, I remember that.
And there's just no escape.
No.
There's just nothing that you can do, and everything just gets more and more just fucked up.
Yeah, and it's also really long for a demo. Like most demos for video, let's be real, most video games that get demos nowadays show off a level or two. I'm trying to guess because in all honesty, the only games I basically play are Nintendo, and not many of them get demos, not recently. The only ones I can think of in recent memory, and this was from I think 2018. Yeah, 2018 was Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch. It got a demo, but that's like the last game that I played there. The point I'm trying to make is I don't run into demos of video games much, but the fact that this demo was not like a level or whatever, or one playable area or something, it was actually like, I think it was like 30 to 45 minutes in its entirety, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. Because I know the Game Grumps play, and their video is like 30 minutes long. So
for PT?
Yeah, so that's like a half hour for a demo of a game.
It's so good.
Which is amazing by itself. But of course, the issue came because this was made by Kojima Productions, which is run by Hideo Kojima, of course, who created the Metal Gear Solid series and headlined it up through Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. That's the second one. Because in Metal Gear Solid 5 is split into 2 parts, right?
I didn't do a lot of Metal Gear.
Okay. I think it was the first part. What was the first part called? Shoot. I can't remember. I really wish I could remember what it was.
We'll throw it up in post. It'll be fine.
Or I'll just find it in a second. But the point is, after Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima and, what's it called? Kojima and Konami, there we go. Ground Zeroes, that's what it was. I apologize. So the first part was, it was essentially Metal Gear Solid 5 Part 1. It was called Ground Zeroes, and then the second part, which is actually more than the first game, oddly enough, Ground Zeroes was basically a glorified demo for Phantom Pain, and then Phantom Pain was the real game. But that was like the last game, I believe, Kojima really full out made with Konami, because they started having disagreements and stuff throughout the process of making that game.
And then they jumped into PT.
Yeah, because they were like, yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened with them, but basically they told, I think there was some controversy that came out that they were like monitoring Kojima's people closely and, you know, being absolute just assholes to them and his team at Kojima Productions. So eventually that led to him leaving Konami, which thank God they did, because now they made one Metal Gear Solid game. It was a friggin' zombie survival game, and it did not do well.
That's not fun.
It doesn't look fun. It looks really boring too. It looks like they took the engine from Metal Gear Solid 5 and they just threw it into a slightly new map or something, and you just fend off zombies and beat them with a stick, like friggin' I don't know, what's his name from The Walking Dead. I can't remember. Morgan. His name is Morgan.
There was, however, in place of PT, there was one game that was set in your own house. You're walking around your own house, seeing like this weird shit happen around you, and that was Visage.
And that was called I'm watching Pornhub and my wife's on her way home from work.
I hate you, but it was Visage. You probably don't know anything about that.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, so Visage was, man, it's hard to explain because it's been a hot minute.
Hot minute.
But Visage, or Visage, whatever, however you want to call it, but it's a horror game that's split into, I think, 2 chapters right now.
Right.
And you checking yourself out in your camera? You
not at all.
Fucking freak. But Visage
I'm cutting this part out because you don't do any of the editing.
I know.
I'm leaving that part in to expose you for not doing it with you. Wow.
Visage.
Wow, okay.
Visage is a game, you're in your own house, you're seeing like all these like ghostly, like paranormal shit happen around you.
Yeah.
And like things around your house change, there's like these mirrors that appear in chapter 2 that you can like break. And like you walk through them and you get like you're in another room. There's just all kinds of shit going on there.
Of course.
I feel like since Visage came out, that kind of almost filled the PT size
hole in your heart.
Yeah, exactly. It almost filled that up, but like, I mean, nothing's gonna be like PT.
Yeah,
because every game, most games are unique.
Right.
Like even if they are mostly the same thing, like they still have their own little things, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, maybe Kojima can make his vision for PT. He probably can't call it that anymore, but maybe he can make his vision of it someday in the future at his new. I forgot what his new company he started was called, but who knows? Maybe with luck he can actually make PT become a reality, or Silent Hills, I guess is the real name of the project. But who knows? Hopefully one day. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like, I mean, to kind of like bring it back to what I started with. I love horror games. I love them. I love them so much, and I don't think I'm ever gonna stop loving horror games. Like even 8-bit, even like little 8-bit horror games.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I just feel like horror is in a really weird place right now, and unless something big comes out that does really good for the horror genre and be something that people can jump off of, like Amnesia was, because before Amnesia, horror games were just kind of like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But with Amnesia, like set a standard.
Yeah.
And it was a really good one for a while, and then you had all these other really good games inspired by that, and then those obviously inspire other games, and things like spooky stories you read online inspires things like that. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else that I really have to say about it.
You know what a real scary game is? No Man's Sky, because they didn't really finish that game
and
make it good.
I heard that they were like revisiting it though. Like
they've been giving it updates over the last, I think it came out 2016, 17 maybe,
something like that.
And they've been giving it big updates and stuff. But that game, I mean, when you lie about half the stuff in the game, it's just not going to go well, even after you release it.
But that's a conversation for another day. Maybe we can talk about bad games.
Oh, there's a lot of bad games out there.
Yeah.
That might be a long one. That might be a two-parter, or one we have to divide up by like genre or something.
Or we can just find like some really, really bad games.
That's true. You know what we need to do now that I figured out how to record stuff on my laptop, like screen capture and stuff. We should like start playing some of these games for the channel. Like that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be
Wouldn't
pretty
you
fun.
think?
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Hopefully, I don't know. It would at least be fun for I don't know, maybe like multiplayer games. I don't know how many of those I got, but who knows?
I'm down. I'm down to just like play whatever.
Maybe
know?
I could force you to play Sonic Adventure or something. That would be a.
Is that on PC?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have it.
boy.
I recorded to test out the feature. I recorded like 30 minutes of Sonic Adventure footage like 2 days ago.
Well, I guess Sonic Adventure is going to be on the horizon at some point.
Sonic Adventure is inevitable.
Sonic Adventure is inevitable.
Hashtag.
But
Make it hashtag.
I mean, I don't really have anything more to say.
Yeah.
I mean, just thank you guys for joining us on our nice little Halloween special. It's not very long, and I felt like there's more that I could have talked about. But I mean, if I talk about the entirety of the horror genre, we're gonna be here a while.
Oh, it's not. It's not long compared to the Mario one. We have.
Boy,
for the record,
that's crazy.
because I realized this just a couple minutes ago. We in that podcast we say that it's our third episode. What we mean to say is it's our third recorded episode because we're planning to upload at this time. I think we uploaded the Minecraft one already.
Yeah, we uploaded Minecraft. And
Breath
I think
of the Wild is
yeah,
next.
Yeah,
and
next
then,
on our roster is Breath of the Wild.
And then for Halloween we're putting up this one.
Is going to put up this
So just a disclaimer for the video you're going to hear before the Mario one. We're going to say this is our third podcast unless I cut that out, but it seemed, I don't know, it was so quickly I said it I might not be able to. The point is, this
Don't worry about
this
the
is going up
timeline.
first.
It's fine.
It's really not. It's not FNAF. It'll make sense.
It'll make sense.
It'll make sense. You know what the Mario one will be a prequel. There, easily done.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Is that
I'm good if you're good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy spooky season, gamers.
Happy spooky season. Try not to die in any Halloween parties you might have, because I know I'm going to be partying real hard.
Hey, don't tell them what to do, okay? If they want to die at a Halloween party, drunk, face down in a ditch, let them, okay?
You know
it's
what?
a free country.
Yeah, you guys live your lives, but
You're the worst.
I mean, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. I hate you.